So I'm going to talk about accessibility, mainly the vision, the approach, the context, and also the importance of accessibility and user experience. So, okay. So to give you some context here quickly, here in Canada in 2019, the Accessibility Canada Act was voted, so it became a law. So the idea, of course, is to ensure a barrier-free Canada by January 1st, 2040. And the goal of the legislation is to address, as in many other countries, many societies, problem where everything is designed and operates for people without disability. So to take these people into consideration more seriously and to be compliant with the law. So here in Canada, among Canadians with disabilities, difficulties and long-term conditions who interacted with a federal organization or a business regulated by federal laws in the past 2 years, 44.6% reported a barrier related to information and communication technologies. So we will be more focusing, you'll see in my presentation, about digital accessibility more specifically, so about the that side. And it's important when we talk about accessibilities, disabilities, we are trying to remove the barrier for people who have not only physical or mental or sensory or intellectual disabilities, but also cognitive disabilities. It's very important to keep that in mind. Just some facts and numbers here. So in Canada, for people with disabilities, 27% experienced a barrier using in-person self-serve technology. And here we're talking really about federal organization, interactions with federal organizations. And 24, so almost the same thing, experienced the barrier using online services. So it's pretty important, and it needs to be addressed. So when we talk about disabilities, we talk about auditory disabilities, blindness, visual impairment, deafness, mobile disabilities. Of course, that's what we know most, and which is more clear for us. But cognitive disabilities often are not really well known and not really known, and it's important to take care of that too. And here, when I talk about cognitive disabilities, dyslexia, sometimes even anxiety is considered also as a form of disability, and we need to work on content that is that takes that into consideration. So, in terms of vision and approach, here at the House of Commons, more specifically, we started with users consultation, and it's very important. And this is becoming for the last years the best approach, and it's part of our standards to try as much as possible to consult and to talk to the users. So we started with the user consultation workshops, and we did a survey last spring, if I remember. And we worked on a plan for the 5 next years, an accessibility plan, once the plan was approved, we created an accessibility secretariat The Secretariat will really take the role of the Secretariat is really to make sure that we encourage so to be compliant with the law first, that's number one, and to also work with all the service areas in order to encourage attitudes and behavior that will promote equity, diversity, and inclusion to ensure equal access and participation for people with disabilities, and helping to provide a way to for everyone to be independent, to remove and to prevent technology barriers to accessibility, and ensure that we meet the accessibility requirements addressed by the Accessibility Canada Act. On our side here, more specifically, where I work in the digital services, we help technology teams having compliant products with the latest accessibility standards. So we help them, we do assessments. I will explain better later what we're doing. Measure the progress also is very important of our accessibility tracks, and provide support to all the teams so they will be compliant. So these are the tracks quickly. Assessment. So accessibility assessment, provide assistance to all the teams to help them be compliant. Learning, training, awareness, QA process, quality assurance process is very important, and measuring and making sure that we have a clear picture of our state in terms of compliance with the most recent standards. These are, I think, very important, the most important elements in our process here when we talk about digital accessibility. So assessment and user testing, very important. We have users, but we will be hiring users who have disabilities. So testers who will be part of our teams to help us do the work. Work on the remediation and help the different product teams. Quality assurance, very important, as I said, to test for accessibility before we deploy our products. Audit and reporting once everything is deployed and in production. Measuring and tracking to have the full picture. So all this will lead to good digital accessibility. When we talk about user experience, we need to know that usability and accessibility go hand in hand, always. It's very important. So, and accessibility is not really always and only for people with the disabilities. It's also for us, for everyone. We really, when we talk about closed captioning or even a button in a door to open a door, we use that. It's part of the user experience, and it enhances the user experience. So usability and accessibility, as I said, work hand in hand, and I like these definitions. So usability, the effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction with which the intended users can use a product to reach their goals. While accessibility is the usability of a product, service, environment, or facility with the widest range of capabilities. So that's, I think, very important. And this is something that is part of what we are focusing on at the House of Commons, the user experience, and making sure that our members of parliament have the best user experience possible we can offer them. And just a final word about inclusivity here. It's very important to talk about that more and more, to recognize the importance of being inclusive and to build our products and content with inclusivity in mind. And we're doing that. We're starting this here at the House of Commons, and more, we have many initiatives taking that into consideration. So inclusive design takes into consideration the full range of diversity, and taking into consideration the ability, language, culture, gender, age, and other forms of human difference. That's, I think, a good definition. So, and what you see here are elements, part of the inclusive design approach. So I think I tried as much as I can to do it in 10 minutes. I hope I'm good and I respected the time. I don't know if there is questions.